Would you consider yourself more of a have or a have-not? Think economics here. Think about your family finance. And are you on the top or the bottom of the scale? We're probably all somewhere in the middle. But depending on who you're surrounded by, it's going to help you know in that moment, am I a have or a have-not? I'm always fascinated to see missionaries who go serve in poverty-stricken parts of the world and get accustomed to that. At the beginning, it's shocking. How can people live like that? And then you start living like that and with others who are forced to live in those conditions. And it changes your heart. In some ways, not only does it open your heart, it opens your wallet in ways that you just wish you could give to these people that you're giving your heart to. It's so hard for those missionaries often to come home and to have lived among the have-nots and then to come home and realize I'm a have and probably always have been. And we almost feel guilty about the things that God has blessed us with. In some ways, it's a macro version of fasting, where when we fast, I get to feel for one day what it's like to be hungry. I hope that motivates me to be generous toward those who feel hungry all the time. This is where the law of consecration really comes in. Do I see people in need? And do I recognize in myself someone who can help meet those needs? With that in mind, look at section 38 and start in verse 16. I wish we had the time to go verse by verse through the entire Revelation, because 38 from start to finish is a primer on consecration like we've never seen. But start for today in verse 16. And for your salvation I give unto you a commandment. For I have heard your prayers, and the poor have complained before me, and the rich have I made, and all flesh is mine, and I am no respecter of persons. Now, think about what he's saying. He starts with, for your salvation, I'm giving you a commandment. What kind of salvation are we talking about? And what type of commandment? The commandment is going to be to consecrate. And yet it's a commandment meant for our salvation. So think about this. Consecration is meant for salvation. And as he mentioned in that verse, both the poor and the rich are side by side in this statement. The poor have been complaining that they have nothing, and the rich, I'm the one who made them so. So all flesh is mine. I'm no respecter of persons. I'm going to try to answer the prayers of the poor through the rich. I'm going to complete a triangle here economically, but it's going to be for salvation for both parties. It will be the economic, the temporal salvation of the poor, but the spiritual salvation of the rich. Please keep that in mind as you ponder consecration. Who is God trying to save? Everyone. Why? Because all flesh is in his hand. It's his, and he is no respecter of persons. But wait a minute. You just said, the rich have I made. Now that's important for the rich to know. Anyone who among the haves, yes, I know you worked for things, but who gave you the ability to work? Who gave you the wisdom to be able to work in those areas? Who blessed you abundantly? In fact, who blessed you probably over abundantly so that you'd have enough to share with those around you. Okay? I put you in that position. I elevated you. But that begs the question, why did you do that if you are no respecter of persons? If you love us all equally, why didn't you bless us all equally in temporal things? Notice what he says next. Verse 17 and 18. I have made the earth rich, and behold, it is my footstool. Wherefore again, I will stand upon it. Are you sensing the personal pronouns here? The I and the my? Keep reading, you'll see more. I hold forth and deign to give unto you greater riches, even a land of promise, a land flowing with milk and honey, upon which there shall be no curse when the Lord cometh. So we're seeing these personal and possessive pronouns, but we're putting them in a second coming context. The Lord is coming. And when he comes, he wants to give us all a land of promise. Those are part of the promise he's extending. Milk and honey, it's going to flow. And so greater riches than what you've ever seen before. But if you are going to be prepared for the greater riches, I guess I need to pay attention to what you're doing with the lesser ones. This is like the parable of the talents. I'll give you some and see what you do with it. And if you've used them well, now I can trust you with abundance. Now, keep this in mind as far as my lesser riches. He wants to give me the greater riches, but what am I doing with what I have right now? And with that in mind, move forward to verse 24 and 25. This will sound redundant because it is. In verse 24, let every man esteem his brother as himself, and practice virtue and holiness before me. And again, I say unto you, let every man esteem his brother as himself. So just in case you missed it the first time, let me repeat to rivet your attention to the fact that everyone around you, yes, is your brother and sister. And yes, you are your brother's keeper. You are your sister's savior when they are in need. If you esteem them that way, if you don't just assume, esteem. Don't just look, love. And look around you and see those in want and picture them as spiritual siblings, which is exactly what they are. Treat them like brothers and sisters. Love them that way. If your own brother or sister, your own flesh and blood came to you desperate in need, would you open your heart and your purse strings? It's amazing what family will do to step in and help pay bills and help with children and move in under our roof, whatever it takes. We're here for you. That's what family is for. Well, speaking of family, now look at verse 26. Section 38, verse 26, is a parable. The Lord will call it that in just a moment, but it's one of the oddest parables you'll ever see. This one's wild. It feels like God paints himself into a corner here. So notice what he says. For what man among you, having 12 sons, see, I just told you, esteem each other as brothers, like yourself. Well, let's keep the family feel here. I've got 12 sons. Oh, the number might be important. Think of the 12 tribes of Israel, as we're supposed to be gathering all of Israel back home. But here's this man, 12 sons. Guess who the man might be, okay? He is no respecter of them, which is just what the Lord had said a few verses ago about himself. All flesh is mine. I'm no respecter of persons. So we know the father in this story. God has children everywhere. He loves them all the same. He's no respecter of them. But now keep reading the parable. They serve him obediently, so they all seem to be equally deserving of the father's assistance. But he saith unto the one, Be thou clothed in robes, and sit thou here. And to the other, Be thou clothed in rags, and sit thou there. And looketh upon his sons, and saith, I am just. Now it's that last line that makes me wonder, what are you saying, God, about yourself? I think you have painted yourself into a corner here because you did exactly that. You understand the parable? He's saying, what kind of a lousy dad who claims to love all of his children equally would treat them so unequally? Why would he say to one, oh, you get to sit here on the throne with your robes. Oh, but you go sit in the corner in your rags. What kind of a lousy dad is that? What kind of an unfair father would treat his children that way? But that's the irony. If we had the guts and we didn't fear the thunderbolt, the lightning bolt, we might raise our hand and say, well, no offense, Father, but that's what you did. You are the kind of father who sent some of your children to first world countries to live in robes and riches, and sent so many other of your children to places of poverty, to sit in rags without enough to live from day to day. Why would you do that? especially if you claim to be no respecter of persons. It sure seems down here from our angle that you play favorites. Now, before you throw lightning bolts at me for questioning God, or even assuming he might be that kind of father figure, notice what he says in the very next verse, 27. Behold, this I have given unto you as a parable, and it is even as I am. Oh, wow. So yes, that is you in the parable. That's exactly what you did. Which makes the following line so strange. He says, I say unto you, be one, and if ye are not one, ye are not mine. Now, we love that verse. We quote it all the time. But in context, it's really surprising. Be one. Because if you're not one, you're not mine. You don't have the family resemblance. Like, wait a minute. The family resemblance is you playing favorites. And that's kind of what we do too. And I keep what's mine and I don't share what with other people. I mean, I made myself rich. Or even if you made me rich, well, you made me rich and somebody else poor. And who am I to get in the way of all that? Oh, we've got to be more careful. Because I think what the Lord is saying here is, I'm not the kind of father that would do that. Even though I did that. The real question, since I'm no respecter of persons, is to see if you have any family resemblance. If you feel like this is family, and if you will be no respecter of persons too. I look at all of you as children that I love. Do you look at each other like siblings that you will serve? It almost feels like the Lord is saying to each of us, please make me the fair father I know I am. Please love your siblings equally the way I love all my children equally. Please learn to share. Now, I'll admit, it would be hard for a parent in their will to give so much to one child and so little to another. But what if the whole goal there were to teach both siblings something about each other and to help those siblings come together to be one? Yes, the parent could have divided the inheritance equally, but then nobody learns a thing. I'll put it this way, if God sets things up unequally, but then tells us how important equality is to him, now it's on me. Now it's up to me to make sure it gets to the way God wants it to be. Is this making sense? Let me give you an analogy that might help. Because I call this inequality in pursuit of equality. That God sets it up not in the way he wants it to be, so that we can fix things and learn things along the way. Nature itself is our analogy. Nature seeks equilibrium. Nature seeking equality, but sometimes it starts out with an inequality. Where do you think wind comes from? Wind is high pressure to low pressure. The atmosphere is seeking equilibrium. But if there's a high pressure area here and a low pressure area there, then the wind will blow. And guess what? Wind can get a lot of good work done. Look at wind farms and the turbines moving and the power that is generated as nature takes something from an unequal state and brings it into an equal state. In a similar way, what are we learning from the flow? Whether you are a have or have not, rich or poor, as long as we don't stand in the way of the wind, as long as we allow it to blow, the rich will be generous, the poor will be brought up. And with temporal salvation being offered to the poor, spiritual salvation is being offered to the rich. We have something to teach one another. So God set it up in the wrong way, quote unquote, so we'd have something to fix. The worst thing we can do is kink the hose when God is trying to send living water through it. The worst thing we can do is dam the river when it's supposed to flow into a state of equilibrium. We've got to let the wind blow. In fact, we need to blow a little wind ourselves and take what God has given us in such abundance and look around at our brothers and sisters all around us and find ways to share with them what God has given us.